What's up, YouTube? Welcome to another rendition of Truth Be Told. I'm your boy Thomas, back with another video this week. This week we're going to talk about a few things that are just absolutely crazy what's going on. You'd think the Democrats would actually and liberals would actually put their crap aside and get with the program and actually be real Americans for this year, this new year. But no, they're still acting like idiots. The first thing that they've done that's just ridiculous. I saw a news article where the Democrats and liberals are calling, activists are calling cities around the United States demanding that they get rid of the police and the police stations, that we don't need them. Which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. If that's the case, then we should go ahead and do an experiment and put all these liberals and Democrats who don't want police, put them in a city like Chicago or Detroit or New York or LA and just take out all the police in that city and let them stay there for a few months or whatever and see how it works. Yeah. The first ones demanding that they don't want some are the first ones who, when it actually comes to church, reality, they're the first ones to demand that it come back. So, you know what? They're idiots. No police. It's just the dumbest shit I've ever heard. The next thing that really got my attention was how they're trying this thing where they call it the no cash bailout system. You know, when you post bail, you know, you got to pay cash to get out or whatever. And they're claiming, Democrats are claiming the reason why so many of them are in jails because they can't afford to bail out. Well, no, the reason why they're in jail is because they keep committing crimes. If they'd stop committing crimes, they wouldn't be in jail, now would they? But in cities across the United States that they're actually trying to do this, especially in New York, it's really bad in New York. They're constantly letting these criminals go that are committing violent crimes, such as rape and murder and such. And the crime rate for these type of crimes, violent crimes, has just gone off the charts, out the roof. You know, the statistics have shown this. And they're not doing anything about it. You know, the Democrats aren't doing anything about it. So, it's gotten ridiculous. And they need to fix it. They need to put it back in place the way it's supposed to be in the system. It's just gotten stupid. Democrats and liberals are just ignorant idiots. They're dumb. And then, on top of that, you know, they're bashing Trump now again. Go figure. They're bashing Trump now because he went over there and took care of that Iranian General or whatever and killed him. You know, he sent troops over there to kill or bombed them or whatever because they kept killing American citizens at the embassy. Every time you turn around, they were killing them. So he said, enough's enough, and he went over there and took care of it. And now we're getting celebrity liberals. These ignorant celebrities, I swear. They need to stay the fuck out of politics. Seriously. Anyways, they're going around, you know, bashing Trump because he went over there and killed this, or had that guy killed, you know. And the thing is that this Iranian general was going around killing thousands and thousands of people, not just Americans, but their own people, over and over again. He's been doing it for years and getting away with it. So he went and put a stop to it. So, you know, and these ignorant celebrities, you know, and liberals are throwing a fit about it, which just shows you that they're not real Americans. But anyways, that's the craziness that's going on right now in the news. It's just ridiculous, some of the stuff they're putting out there. These Democrats and liberals just gotten retarded. I've seen a lot of YouTube videos on their views of The Mandalorian, which I watched as well. I told you I'd give you my opinion on it after it was done, the season was done. It started off kind of slow. I wasn't real sure I was really gonna like it at first, but after a few episodes I started getting into it, and it's not that bad. It's actually a decent, it's good, you know, it's not that bad at all. I thought it was going to be, but it turned out to be pretty good. I don't think I've really had any real complaints about the show. I mean, why they would have to introduce a female who's a badass in it, you know, other than that, you know, not every freaking movie and television show today has to have a really strong female lead in it. I mean, come on. That's just ridiculous. And I don't mean that as, you know, not having a female lead, but, you know, this, like a warrior type chick, you know, in it. Where she's just super badass and she can fight and kick butt, you know. You ain't got to have that in every freaking thing you do now, Hollywood. That's just it's getting old and ridiculous. But regardless, you know, the character in it, the female character, it's the ex-Imperial soldier. She ain't bad and don't bother me really all that bad. I'm just saying you don't have to have someone like that in every freaking television show and movie. Jeez. I really didn't have any complaints about the show for the most part. Except for I didn't like the bad guy at the very end, the Moff Toff or whatever the hell his name is. The black guy with the dark saber, come on. He looks like a pathetic, could fight his way out of a 2-bit bag. They could have picked a better bad guy. Other than that, Mandalorian's not bad. Go ahead and check it out. It's fairly decent. Now I give it 2 thumbs up. Now I do think it's funny that you know, the only reason why most people subscribed to Disney was to watch The Mandalorian. Now that it's over, they're getting record people who are quitting Disney Plus. So that's funny. Nobody cares about all the Marvel crap they keep coming out with. The stupidity they're doing with it. Kevin Feige is a joke. Get rid of his ass. He's retarded. He don't know how to do a damn good Marvel movie. And to the amazing Lucas, you're wrong. The original 3 Spider-Mans from the early 2000s with Tobey Maguire are actually the best Spider-Man movies. These new ones suck balls. Alright, moving on. I binge watched Star Trek, the animated series. I knew about this series, but I never actually ever went and bothered to watch it. I don't know, I just figured why not. So I figured I'd watch the daggum thing. They're only 22 episodes. They're only about 20 minutes a piece, or 20 to 30 minutes a piece. So it didn't take long. I've heard a lot of complaints about this series, and I don't know why. It didn't seem that bad to me. The stories were decent. I don't know. They took out Chekhov in the animated series, Walter Conning. I don't know why. I've heard budget cuts and other reasons why. But it seems funny, all the rest of the cast are there except for him. And that nurse Yevon, or whatever her name is too, she's not in it either. Or no, she's not a nurse, sorry, but you know, Ensign Yevon or whatever that was on the show regularly. You know, she wasn't in it either. Those are the only two characters that weren't in this series. They added two new ones, actually, to the animated series. Two alien species. One was like a cat, and the other had 3 limbs. But they were voices done by other members of the crew, or of the other actors, or whatever. They made the voices for them. Like I said, I didn't see anything wrong with the animated series. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of, you know, like fighting and action going on. They did have a few scenes where they had a little bit of action or fighting, but for the most part, it wasn't a lot of that. It was more diplomatic, kind of. Other than that, you know, it was all right. Most of the episodes, I liked the stories. So, you know, if you're into Star Trek, you should give this a try. It's not bad. Alright, that's all I have for all that. Let's get on to your B movie reviews. Alright, movie holics, let's get on to your B movie reviews. Oh, one more thing before we get into the B movies. In the Star Trek animated series, they had, which I didn't know, they had a recreation room which was actually a holodeck, which I didn't know they had done already previously to the Next Generation, but apparently they did. And I saw it in the animated series. So the holodeck idea was long before the new generation or Next Generation started. So that was kind of neat to know or find out. Okay. The first movie, B-rated movie we're going to talk about, is an old classic, Disney classic, and it was done in 1971. It actually made about $37 million at the box office, so it didn't do too bad for back then. That's actually pretty decent. The movie is called Bednobs and Broomsticks. It starred Angela Lansbury, Roddy McDowall, and David Tomlinson. The movie is basically, you know, it's kid friendly, of course. It was done for kids. It's Disney. Back when Disney could actually do decent movies. They had a scene in there where they tried to mix, you know, Disney was trying this new thing, trying to with several of his movies, where it was trying to mix animation with live action, kind of like Space Jam or something like that, you know, Roger Rabbit, that kind of stuff. This one had a scene in it where, or a part of the movie where they tried to do the same thing. The story is basically you have a woman who's training in the art of witchcraft, or she thinks she's training in the art of witchcraft as an apprentice. She's buying these like scrolls or whatever of supposedly spells from what she thinks is a type of school of witchcraft and wizardry, you know, kind of like Hogwarts. Anyways, she lives alone, and she gets conned into taking in a couple of kids, 2 boys and a girl. She's kind of helping out like this orphanage or whatever by holding on to them until they could find them a family. So she takes them in, and this is all set in World War II, by the way. So you're going to hear a lot of Nazi references and stuff like that. But anyways, she takes them in, and they discover that she's a witch, or you know, she's not really that good of a witch actually, but they realize they think she's a witch because she's trying to practice witchcraft. She gets them to keep their mouths shut by saying, well, if you don't go telling people I'm a witch, I'll give you a spell. Which she does. She gives it to the youngest. And basically, she calls it a traveling spell, where you can travel anywhere you want to. Hence the whole bed, you know, reference. The bed knob is a big round golden ball-like thing that you can easily twist onto the end of the bed, and they use that to tell the bed and tap it 3 times and then twist it, and it takes them wherever they want to go. Don't expect like some amazing graphics. You know, a lot of millennials, they think that, or this latest generation, it has to have superb graphics or they're not going to watch it. I know, I hear it all the time from several younger people. They can't watch older movies because the graphics are terrible. And I'm like, it's not about the graphics, it's about the story. Today's movies suck at storytelling, even though if they have CGI good graphics, the stories suck. So anyways, the graphics ain't all that great, but the acting's really good. They have some decent actors. And it's, you know, like I said, it's going to be a little bit cheesy. Anyways, she finds out that this guy's kind of like a peddler, con artist kind of guy. Anyway, he gave her a bunch of spells out of this book he found. You know, he thought it was nonsense, so he started selling off the spells to people and calling himself a professor of this magic school. She gets him to give her the book, but there's only half of the book, so they got to find the other half. Well, they find the other half with this other guy who's looking for the other half. Neither one of them wants to give their half of the book up. They're looking Angela Lansbury is looking for this one final spell. Come to find out, it's on this medallion or whatever that was on the guy that wrote the book, and he got lost in some magical island that's animated animals that are alive and can talk and stuff. So the little boy, he's been reading this book about this island, and he tells them where to go. He knows how to get there. So they go to this island, and they meet some of the animals and the king's playing the soccer ball, and they eventually steal the medallion from the king because he's the one who had it. But once they re-enter the world of reality, the medallion disappears because it can't exist in our world. Come to find out, the medallions, there's a picture of the medallion in the book, and that's how they get the last spell, which is a spell of to be able to move inanimate objects, make them come to life or something like that. Anyways, once they find this out, the whole time they're finding this out, right off the shore, which is where they live, Angela Lansbury lives, a Nazi party in a sub shows up and tries to take over the house and is planning on taking over the whole village and crap. Well, she does that spell or whatever that she was looking for and brings all these museum antique armor and of past British soldiers used to wear, and they all go out and fight this battle with the Nazis or whatever and kick them off the island, and everyone lives happily ever after. That's pretty much the end of the movie. It was okay. It wasn't bad for a Disney flick. You know, yes, it was a little bit older. No, the graphics aren't going to be great. The acting was good. You know, for a kid's flick, it wasn't bad. But this being fantasy week again, you know, I figured, you know, I'd do a couple 70s fantasy. They didn't really have anything in the 70s that was, you know, like a high advanced fantasy, like, you know, Dungeons and Dragons or something. They never did do anything like that. All theirs was mainly whimsical fantasy movies. Anyways, it wasn't a bad movie. I give it 2 thumbs up. It was pretty good. Check it out if you want. The next movie was also done in 1971. It only made $500,000 though. I was shocked when I looked this up and I saw that it only made $500,000. I couldn't believe it. I was like, really? Because you hear about this movie all the time. It's a cult classic. And that is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Apparently, it didn't go well with audiences back in '71 at all. No one really cared for it. It's done by Warner Brothers. I was kind of shocked. And it starred Gene Wilder, a major star back then. So he was really the only star in the movie. It was really kind of surprising. I was really shocked to find out it didn't do well at all at the box office. But anyways, naturally, over the years, you know, it became a cult classic. Everybody knows Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory now. But back then, it was just a no-go. Like I said, it was kind of surprising, you know. Most people know this movie. You know, Willy Wonka is kind of this recluse. He keeps in his factory. No one's seen him for like 10 years or better. I can't remember how many years it was, but no one's seen him for a very, very long time. And that's because supposedly there was this one guy who was trying, a rival candy maker, was trying to steal secrets to his formulas at one time. So he shut himself in his factory and he just never came out. But he kept producing and selling candy. Now, there was a sequel to this called Charlie and the Chocolate Factory with Johnny Depp. It was made by Tim Burton, but it was god awful. It was so bad. It was terrible. I couldn't even make it through 30 minutes of that movie. They turned it into like this horror film, and it was just absolutely terrible. It was crap. But anyways, in this one, Willy Wonka finally decides to hold a contest. He's going to open his doors to 5 lucky winners. And in the candy bars, somewhere in the candy bars, is a golden ticket. There's 5 of them. And when everybody has these golden tickets, they're supposed to show up at the candy factory, and then he's going to give them a tour of the candy factory. So everybody's excited to get these golden tickets around the world. The 5 winners are chosen and shows up. A lot of the story has to deal with this kid named Charlie, who really, really wants to get in here, but he's really, really poor. And he admires his grandfather, who tries to help him out, blah blah blah. But he's both sets of his grandparents are in these beds, and they can't get up out of these beds or whatnot. And his mother's taking care of all of them, which is kind of crazy in itself. But anyway, he finally gets a golden ticket, and he's the last one to be able to go. So while Willy Wonka is showing him his candy factory, one by one, the kids, who are allowed to bring one adult with them, most of them brought their mother or their father. Charlie brought his grandfather, who surprisingly could get out of bed. Anyways, while Willy Wonka is showing him this candy factory and the things in it, he keeps telling him, don't touch this, don't touch that, don't eat this, don't drink that. But, well, they don't listen, and they keep doing it. Anyways, one by one, the kids get in a situation they can't get out of. And then the Oompa Loompas show up, the little people that help Willy Wonka make the candy or whatever. He will tell them, hey, take this parent to this room where the kid's gone, and then help take care of them and get them out of here. Well, he keeps doing that one by one until they're all gone. You don't really see what happens to the kids or the parents. All you know is they're off the screen. I mean, that's the last you see of them. But apparently it was all a test to see if Charlie would steal a formula from him for a particular type of candy, which he hired some guy to go around and tell the kids if they stole this particular type of candy to give it to him. he was pretending to be Willy Wonka's rival, the guy he closed his factory to, the guy who tried to steal from him before, and that's the reason why he closed the factory. But he hired a guy to pretend to be like him. Well, the only one who didn't take the bait was Charlie. And at the very end, he tells Charlie, you know, here's all your dreams come true, the factory's yours, blah, blah, blah. I got to hand it off to an apprentice, blah, blah, blah. He'll take care of the factory when I'm gone. And that's the end of the movie. I thought it was a really good movie. It was pretty decent. Wasn't bad at all. I'm not a big fan of musicals. It really irritates me when you have musicals, because half the time the song doesn't even go with the movie anyway, and there's no sense in it anyway. Just get on with the story, you know. We don't need a 30-minute rendition of a freaking song that has nothing to do with the movie. Both these movies tried to do that. Have a song in there that had nothing to do really what was going on. They could have done without it. But anyways, with this one, it was really good. I liked it. I didn't see anything wrong with it. And I don't know why people didn't get into it at first. I mean, yeah, it was a little strange, but it was a good strange. Alright everyone, that's all I have for you this week. If you have any suggestions of movies you would like me to review, there's some gems that I might have missed or might not have ever seen, leave your suggestions down in the comments below. I'll try to get around to watching them and giving them a review whenever I can. And I hope you liked the video. Until next time, I told you to be told the truth, and you just been told.